Deepwoken's got a million status effects and debuffs like burn, bleed, suffocation, insanity. The entire system is built on rules, but there's one status in particular that's above everything else, and players aren't pushing it to the absolute limit. This effect is so broken that players have been begging for its removal for years. It's so strong that somehow it slipped past every balance patch untouched, without nerfs, no tweaks, no investigation, just sitting there wiping builds since day one. What if we just said screw it and learned how to abuse this status from the ground up? Let's extend its duration with the right weapon, run special mantras to trigger it consistently, then stack another status on top to make its downside hit even harder. So today, we're forcing Shaky Block to the limit and testing Deepwoken's combat the way it was never supposed to be played. Once you see it in action, Deepwoken will never look the same again. Before we start, check out my new YouTube channel down below. I just made it all about anime, and also my UGC with some new JJK items. There's a bunch of stuff from the cooling games and the links are down below, but check them out because it helps me a ton. Thanks again. What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today we're talking about something borderline illegal in Deepwoken. It takes normal interactions and turns them into free wins. Like, it's genuinely hard to argue that this is fair, and it's definitely not fun to fight against. But on the other hand, if we're using it, yeah, it's pretty disgusting. So I'm gonna break this down step by step so it's easier to get down. Before we start pushing it to its max potential, you gotta understand one thing first. What does Shaky Block actually do? Alright, so how does this status even work, and why does the community hate it so much? In Deepwoken, tapping F gives you a parry, and holding F puts you in a block. After you parry, there's a brief cooldown before you can parry again. You can't just mash this, it forces you to commit with some downtime, adding a layer of strategy to your timing. The only natural conclusion, if you press F, you parry, and if you hold F, you block, right? Wrong, because Shaky Block ignores this rule entirely. If you parry immediately after getting hit, you'll be forced into Shaky Block. Despite its misleading name, Shaky Block is a form of hit stun that actually prevents you from blocking whatsoever. It's not an actual block. Your character will shake in this hit stun, and your posture bar also glows red, indicating that you are cooked. If you're in this, you're doomed. This hit stun duration varies per weapon, but once you're in this state, it's probably the worst possible situation available for you. Essentially, if we can mix up the players and force them into Shaky Block, they cannot defend any of our attacks, and it gets out of hand very quickly. They won't be able to parry or block whatsoever, eating all of our damage instead. Of course, we'll be abusing this hit stun ourselves while stacking Shaky Block application to apply infinite pressure. So how can we apply Shaky Block consistently? In Deepwoken, any damage that applies stun can also proc Shaky Block, but most tools do it inconsistently. However, a few specific options trigger it far more reliably from the rest, and we'll be using these. If we build around those options, we have a little bit more control when proccing Shaky Block. So for starters, weapons with very fast swing speeds and awkward animations are the best at applying this status. If I had to pick one that stands above the rest, it's probably going to be a fist style. Juscarita is a solid option, it's fast and has very janky animations, but today we're going even cheesier instead of just being consistent. Every single fist weapon in the game recently got a secret buff, but it's not what you'd expect. There's a new fist style in the game that barely anyone is talking about, and they probably don't even know that it's there. If you can equip a fist weapon without using a fist style, you're forced into Untrained Fist. It's not a real style, but it completely changes your animations and your critical with basically zero downside. That's exactly why it's so easy to abuse. The M1 animations are janky and hard to react to, and the crit is honestly kind of busted. The critical is a ranged armored lunge that lets you slap opponents from a distance, and you can kind of control this by backpedaling, but it's perfect for gap closing and messing with timing. Being honest, any fist weapon can work here, but Untrained Fist is easily the best for Shaky Block setup. With certain mantras, everything is gonna work, but there are a few that are kind of busted. Exhaustion Strike is a very consistent combo confirm that you can use after dealing damage, and a lot of the time they'll parry early and be sent into Shaky Block. Besides this, you can also use Lightning Stream's Blast Spark because the timing is almost instant. With a static link on your opponent alongside static ace, Lightning Stream turns into a hit scan mantra that's light speed, so it's difficult to react to. Additionally, it also lasts a little bit longer on players before dealing its initial damage tick, so it's generally just a weird mix-up that's easy to land. Thunder Call is going to be your best friend when abusing Shaky Block, but we'll get into that in a second. For now, those tools can help you proc Shaky Block consistently. Let's figure out how to extend it and make it even more impressive. Shaky block is downright one of the worst possible states you can find yourself in during Deepwoken's combat. I mean, you're already taking damage, but your parry has been wasted and you cannot block anything. It's just extremely hard to recover from. If we're applying this status consistently in combat, how can we make it even worse? So let me explain. Added in some recent Deepwoken patches, there's been a few additions that actually extend the duration of our shaky block. Shaky block is already so difficult to deal with and terrible to be stuck in. Why don't we just extend its oppressive duration? Alongside our untrained fist style, we can also equip the Legion Cestus and its new talent, Static Beatdown. This talent says, based on your build's investment into Thundercall, increase the duration of your shaky block. Of course, to maximize our pressure, we gotta slap 100 Thunder on our build, but this talent is actually insane. Of course, based on the ping of the server and the timing you're sent into shaky block, it's very hard to be consistent, but it will increase the amount of time players are stuck in this position. With a maximum of 100 Thundercall points invested, it about increases the duration by 1 second. Besides that, to take it even further, we can also use Hidden Blade and its newly discovered status. If you don't remember what this is, it's from the Inquisition path, a part of the Authority origin, and it's exclusive to that path. The mantra by itself is already pretty powerful, dealing a set percentage of damage no matter what health they have, preventing actions after a hit, and sticking our target with a poison status that lasts about 16 seconds. Now, those base attributes are pretty decent, but the poison status builds on top of shaky block's pressure. When a player is under the Hidden Blade poison effect, it seems like it increases the duration of all shaky block by about 20%. Maximizing our shaky block pressure alongside Hidden Blade's poison, players are stuck in this unremovable status for about 1.4 seconds without any defensive options. Pairing this up with weird animations on our fist style, hyper armor negating thunder stun, and everything else on our build, shaky block awakens and becomes extremely debilitating in combat. I will admit, the status is extremely niche and difficult to notice in combat, but there's objective value changes here giving you an advantage over anybody in a fight. It doesn't matter if they know what's happening or you know what's happening, their defense is drastically lower when fighting a player abusing animations, stun time, and of course shaky block. After using this to the maximum potential, I kinda understand why players want this removed from the game entirely, but I had to test it and see for myself if the complaints were really warranted. Comment your thoughts down below, but give it a shot and tell me what you think. But this is how Deepwoken's combat can be broken by just using a single status. Thanks once again to all the supporters who motivate me daily and directly help out the channel because it means a lot. If you want to join as a member for my channel, go down below, but besides that, my personal Discord, Guild Discord, and my UGC group are linked down below, so check them out. Thanks once again, and make sure to like and subscribe.